Yep.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City of Kingston Historic Landmarks Preservation Commission meeting. Today is January 9, 2025. My name is Suzanne Cahill. I am the Planning Director for the City of Kingston. Before we just start the meeting, I just want to go over a few basic announcements for everybody. I just ask that if you do have a cell phone, just please silence it now so that it doesn't interrupt the meeting. If you do have any conversations outside of those that you're having with the commission, we do ask that you take them outside of the room. Council chambers you can use, or there is another conference room on the other side of the chambers. If you go through the chambers, the bathrooms are on the opposite side of City Hall. Men's room would be to your left, women's to your right. If we do have an emergency, we ask that you please do not use the elevator, use the stairs. If you need assistance, just ask and we will help you as well. As everybody heard, the meeting is being recorded and we are also live streaming. So we just expect you to respect that. And with that, I am going to open the meeting at 6:32 and turn it over to Chairman Mark Grunblatt to introduce the board members and other staff and begin the meeting.
Good evening. I'm Mark Grunblatt. I'm Chair of Historic Landmark Preservation Commission. I'm going to ask the commission members present to introduce themselves. I'll start with you, Nettie.
Nettie Morano, Commissioner.
I'm Andrea Putes. I'm the architect of the commission.
Eric Mitchell, Commissioner.
Robert Tommy, Commissioner.
Thank you. And if you would introduce yourself, Ethan.
Yes, I am Ethan Dickerman. I'm the Historic Preservation Administrator.
And we do have Commissioner McAvoy. Kevin, you are here.
Oh,
If you speak,
Yeah,
Kevin,
yeah,
there you go.
yeah. I'm not feeling all that well, so I may shut the video off. But I'm here, and I can participate in terms of voting and all that. So yeah, we're good.
Okay. Thank you.
great. Thank you
You
so
don't want to
much.
hear me coughing. I'm sure you don't.
Oh, dear. All right, mug of tea, okay? All right. First order of business is the adoption of last month's minutes. Are there any changes or corrections or comments from commission members? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
So moved, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Do I hear a second?
Second. Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Yay. Eric?
Aye.
Robert?
Yes.
Okay, that's unanimous. First order of business tonight. First new business is 61 Spring Street. Is someone here on that? I see you nodding. If you would come up and give us a quick overview of what you plan to do.
Sure. Been here before, done this before. Guys doing great. We have a house in the historic district. I actually have street level pictures and also a drone picture so you can see what the solar panels would look like. They will not be visible from the street.
It's also behind you
Oh,
on
is it?
the screen. So, yeah.
There we go. And you have real color pictures here. So, yeah, ooh and ah. So it's a relatively small system, but for the historic area, that's about right. And they are all black panels. And like I said, they will not be seen from the street.
All right, does anyone have questions? You're Mr. Evans?
No, I'm Rick.
Okay. Yeah, you would introduce yourself for the record.
My name is Rick Irizarry. I'm the Director of Sales for New York State Solar Farm. We are the installers.
Great. Right. So as an unlisted action, do I need to do a seeker review?
Yes, you do.
All right,
One second here.
I had that feeling.
So basically, the full EAF has been completed. We did make a couple of changes on the part one. You had checked no under any other permits. There's building permits and that required.
Okay,
All right, so that was changed. We added in the acreage of the project action. We also changed your response to question 6, which asked, is the proposed action consistent with the predominant character of the existing built or natural landscape? You had checked no, we answered it yes.
thank you very much.
We also switched your answers on 8, B, and C. The one question was, are public transportation services available at or near the site of the proposed action? You answered no, we changed it to yes. Any pedestrian accommodations of bicycle routes available on or near the site of the proposed action? You answered no, we changed it to yes. We also changed question 9, does the proposed action meet or exceed the state energy code requirements? We answered that yes, because this is a solar installation, so you are working to perform sustainable energy. We also changed 12B. Is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Office archaeological site inventory? You answered it no, we answered it yes. Okay. And then we put an answer into a question that was not answered. 13B, would the proposed action physically alter or encroach into any existing wetland or water body? No. Okay. We changed 15 from no to yes. And this is a result of what they call the EAF mapper. It's a DEC website, which automatically put this as a yes. The question is, does the site or proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? EAF mapper indicated yes, and it includes Atlantic sturgeon and short-nosed sturgeon, which obviously we know are in the creek, so not an issue here. But it also lists the northern long-eared bat and the Indiana bat, which are common throughout the city of Kingston. So we switched that answer. And we switched another answer to yes because EAF mapper also said yes on this one. Has the site or the proposed action on an adjoining property or an adjoining property been the subject of remediation ongoing or completed for hazardous waste? It says yes. You wrote no. We're not, there are some gas stations in close proximity. There are other uses in near proximity that may have been the reason for that answer to be yes, okay? So with that said, staff has completed part 2, indicating that all the answers were no or small to impact. You can read them if you prefer, you can just accept them.
If you ever have to do those again, you can just use the EAF mapper and it'll partially fill in some of that data for you, so you don't have to.
I'll have to introduce the AF map.
Yeah, if you Google it, if you Google it,
No, I've
it
used
comes
it
up.
before.
Oh, okay, yeah. It fills in some of it, not everything, but certainly the historic and the other, the later end of the things that were on the list. But
Yeah, those are for, when you're doing solar, you're not usually talking about
Right.
totally.
endangered species.
No, right. Obviously not.
Do I need to do a separate motion on finding this an unlisted action, or can I simply move?
No, you just identify it as an unlisted action. You can make a motion that the form has been completed, indicating no
No
significant
or small
environmental impact, and ask for a motion to accept that.
I think I will. All right, having heard the changes and having reviewed the form, staff has determined that it will, in each of the categories, that there will be no or a small impact. So I would move that we approve the short environmental assessment form as submitted and ask that you allow me to sign off on this determination of environmental significance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nettie. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Thank you. Eric?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
I also vote yes. So step one, done. Seeker should be satisfied. All right, getting to the project at hand. Does anyone have any further questions or clarifications that they need from Rick? Thank you. From Rick while we have him here. The description's pretty straightforward. All right then, I will need the. So I hereby move that our commission find this fact that the proposed rooftop solar panel project at 61 Spring Street in the Rondout West Strand Local, State, and National Historic District, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-26L of the City of Kingston's form-based zoning code, is compatible with the historic character of the district for the following reasons and conditions. The proposed work is to take place at the 3-bay bracketed style 2-story dwelling with gable end facing Spring Street, which is located on the north side of Spring, midway between Hone and Wirtz Streets, and which on the January 13th, 1977 building structure inventory form prepared by Friends of Historic Kingston states, quote, that the house appears on the 1858 map of Rondout. Although it is similar to the larger structure at 69 Spring Street, it has had fewer alterations and is more stylistically correct. It's one of the best structures of its style in the district. That applicant's contractors, NYS Solar Farm, propose a 7.65 kilowatt. What does the P stand for? Is it just kilowatts or do I need?
Should be just kilowatts.
Okay, then I'm going to lose the P. Engineering. With 18 black solar panels and a rooftop system where 14 panels will be mounted on the structure's west-facing roof, and the remaining 4 panels will be at the southeast corner of the east-facing roof. That each panel will be mounted to the roof via a racking system affixed to the rafters via lag screws. That the system's line, combiner, and disconnect shall be mounted on the structure's east face near the existing utility meter, which is adjacent to the driveway, and that the lines must be painted to match the facade's existing color to minimize visibility from the public right-of-way. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to additional work being carried out. Our commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building and Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on the 9th day of January 2025, our commission grant a certificate of appropriateness to the above referenced applicant for the work described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I hear a second?
Second that.
Thank you, Eric. Last chance for further discussion. Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Robert? I also vote aye. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next up is 105 of Beale Street.
I have a question on the solar panel. So, not to go.
Right.
So we've handled it in a way that they're removable, so, you know, if they're on the side, it doesn't show on the street, it's really an issue. Is it gonna get to be an issue? I mean, more and more people are doing it. What if it's on the front of a door and we've let everybody go? Do we have to?
Are
roll
you,
for
are
that?
you talking about the solar panels themselves, or are you talking about the equipment that's mounted?
Well, I guess you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Well, the code, the city code, has, the panels can be, they can't be on the front face of the building. If they're on the side, they need to be screened or
That's
colored.
interesting.
On the roof, if they're not visible, this was a question that came up when we had, AHRS, doing the intensive level surveys for Wilbur and Pakaki. We had asked them, well, how do they look at, or how do historic preservationists and SHPO, how do you look at solar panels mounted on rooftops, you know, as, and they said they're really considered non-permanent structures. They can be removed. So, you know, obviously, if you're talking about a regular asphalt roof, it's one thing. If you're talking about a slate roof, it would be a whole different story. So you wouldn't want to see them obviously mounted into a slate roof because it would damage that material.
You don't have to worry about that. Everybody can put some on slate roofs.
It would be a major issue,
Yeah.
right? We faced something similar a while ago with antennas and satellite dishes, and it was handled in a similar manner. As long as it's not going to be, try to minimize visual impacts as much as possible, and as long as it is not going to damage the structure, we generally approve. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry about that.
If you would introduce yourself and give us a quick overview.
My name is Robin Bellinson. I work with Alfondre Architecture, and I am representing the gentlemen who currently own the property at 105 Beale Street and have a project right now with the planning department looking to subdivide and create an apartment on the rear section of their property that stretches between Beale Street and West Union. So this project would be called West U Street Rentals LLC. So this is, we're trying to get site plan approval for a 6-unit apartment building on the West Union side of that property.
So this is all new construction.
Correct.
Got it. All right.
So that's it.
In a nutshell.
I mean, yeah, we've been through the planning board has given us, you know, our first meeting went really well. I'm not sure how much.
Yeah, in your notes, you'll see, do you want to just kind of scroll through the plans so we can just they can have a better understanding? So what this is new construction, 6 units. The bottom floor will be an ADA accessible unit. In the basement, there will be some storage areas for the residents to have extra storage. There's also going to be, interestingly enough, a dog wash area. And the building takes up a good portion of what will be the new parcel of land. So they will be storing the garbage totes in the rear, but they did look at, and Robin, maybe you can explain a little bit about this. They embraced the form-based code. They went through the neighborhood and looked at other examples and the building styles and the types and materials that were used in terms of making their final choices. So they did come up with some alternatives and settled on what you saw on the first page of the plan set. But they wanted to show that they looked at the neighborhood and really tried to find something that was complementary and yet not recreating an exact historic structure.
And we
But
did have,
it really fit in. So-
yeah, and at this level, it's a fairly developed schematic plan, but it is schematic in terms of the exterior, wanting to bring it before this commission and make sure that we were heading in the right direction before we settle onto something final. That's why there are quite a few, you know, options in terms of the brickwork and things like that. So we did, this is the more residential side of the street. The West Union Street is more residential than the Beale Street side. However, we were allowed the 3.5 stories. So we considered doing like a more of a gable kind of a looking structure, but it just seemed like it would be really, really tall. Because they did want to take advantage of as much of that vertical space as they could and have as many units as possible. So the kind of flat topped, more like a parapet roof, just seemed to be, honestly, it seemed to be a little bit more small in the neighborhood.
The mass more closely fits what's it's
I
adjacent
think
to.
so,
Your
yeah.
favorite word
Yeah.
is contextual.
That's right, make that down.
Thank you. What's happening at the very top? There's like is that a doorway?
Yes, there's rooftop access. We are thinking about having, not the whole entire part, but a portion of it could be used for mechanicals if needed. It could also be used as an amenity for the tenants as well, to have like a little rooftop area. So the parapet was built to be high enough that it would be, kind of almost like, we wouldn't need like an additional railing or anything like that. It would be tall enough for code, so that people could use the space.
And the detail on the sort of upper level kind of cornice looking thing?
Yeah, but that's just something we put in there, because otherwise it's just kind of like, it just looks like a big box. So we wanted to add, there's kind of like a little belt line there delineating that first level. And then again, just kind of repeat it at the top, just to show we're gonna do something here. We don't have it exactly nailed down yet because, as Suzanne mentioned, we did go around the neighborhood, took some photos and said, okay, this is kind of in this area, this is in this area, like, what do we,
Do you want any responses from us to any of the other options specifically?
I mean, I would welcome it. I would welcome it if you had any strong opinions about it. If you don't and you think we're on the right track, that's great.
Well, let's take a
but if
little
you have
while
strong
and just kind of
feelings-
scroll through.
Sure.
And I'd ask members to take a look, see if you have any strong opinions one way or the other.
These are, again, very sketchy, kind of like, bleh. What could we do? Yeah,
All right, so we have sort of eyebrow arches.
yeah, and maybe some different color brickwork, maybe.
A stronger sort of cornice projection at the top.
One thing I'm just gonna note is that when we did do these sketches, we didn't have the floors. The first floor needed to be taller than the rest, and these little mock-ups, it's not. So there will be that additional kind of distance between the first and the second level, which isn't reflected here, sorry.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're looking at, do we want to do like a brick sill? Do we want to do
Keystone, yeah,
like some kind of a concrete sill? Do we want to do a keystone? Do we want to do something
Yeah.
more fancy? I don't know. Probably trying to keep it more simple, honestly.
Yeah.
But unless something's really offensive, you're like, oh no, that's.
Yeah, I so far, I can't see anything that rings alarm bells. There are similar items. Oh, yeah, the cornerstones is. Yeah, and that sort of double corner. All right, and there's lots of choices.
Yeah.
It's the glory of being able to do something from scratch in a
Yeah,
historic district.
Right,
You've got lots and lots of choices.
right.
Strong thoughts one way or
Do
the
we have
other?
any photos of the street and how this project will fit on the street? Like, is it other apartments or is it? Single family?
If you're facing the building to the left, there's kind of a low brick building. It looked like it had some kind of a garage that's been converted into, I would say, some kind of a dwelling. And then on the right, there's a setback farther, it's like the back side of more of a traditional kind of gable house. Yeah, if you bring up on Google Maps. So yeah, that kind of vine-covered building would be on the right. And this is, an old photo. So this has already been, as you can see, gutted and renovated, and it's not covered in vines anymore. So yeah, there's a brick building there, there's another, it has a gable roof, but there's a brick building there, there's a couple across the street.
So the empty space right there is the, yeah, where it would be.
How about parking? Have you addressed resident parking? That street looks pretty narrow.
It's not required, we have identified a ADA parking spot that is directly across the street, that's that could be used.
So yeah, once again, the taller buildings are further down the block. And in general, this is the more purely residential face of the
Yeah,
property.
and the existing building that the owners have is this, it's like it's here, so the lot is long and skinny, so this is West Union, and then on the far side over here is Beale Street, so, and as you know, Beale Street is very different from that facade.
Okay. Does anyone have strong feelings about any of the choices presented? There's lots of,
Perfect direction, yeah.
yeah.
think-
Go.
I was gonna say,
You have the eye.
My only comment is certainly adding in an accent line up top here. I think that'll also help with feeling like that scale will come down a little bit more.
Mhm.
I'm certainly not opposed to this, but yeah, adding in
Another one?
I think, not quite like that, but something you can certainly keep it simple. But I think adding in that secondary line below the cornice is very helpful.
Okay.
Make it feel more like the cap. There's more of a hat on it instead of just a blank forehead.
Understood. The code requires the separation line between the first and second floor. That is a code requirement.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the base
For sure.
the base metal cap.
Okay, and then we'll put another one. Okay.
I'd say that I like the idea of the lintel, pretty simple. In the first, the original one you showed us first,
But like the 3D, like just,
yeah, that one is my guess.
okay.
That's where it was. I like the idea of that's a really common feature throughout the district. And it's a good thing to echo it exactly how I have a preference for the clean lines of this, but the eyebrows and all that also work.
Okay.
And I did like the cornice, stronger cornice is more classic for that neighborhood in my head.
Okay.
So go down to the version so we can be clear. Well, I mean, I want to hear from the others too, so
Yeah.
I think I know which one are you thinking that one right there
Either
on the top?
the one on the top, I think is what stood out to me. It's hard for me to tell from this distance. I can't tell if that's a cornice or just brickwork. Looks like it's just brickwork as,
At the top.
yeah, so I think the lower probably is the cornice.
Yeah, that just has brickwork on the top, and then this one has.
You mean like something that's actually built out from the structure?
Yes.
Like something, or, because I mean, I could see either one, but I agree, having something.
A little taller is more similar to what I would see wandering around the neighborhood. If we're trying to match that style, it's certainly one that exists nearby, though not on West Union itself, or at least close to this building. So those are my thoughts in terms of personal preference, but a lot of this can work.
Mm-hmm.
I really think you guys have.
Something like that is what you're thinking?
Yeah,
In
something.
terms of the top.
Yeah,
I'm
the
asking.
cornice work,
I see.
the detail, I'm not thinking about,
Mhm.
a different color of brick, if you want to make that pop.
Okay.
I think it could be made to, I think several of these could be made to work quite nicely.
Okay. Excellent.
Any other commission members? Robert?
I like this cornerstone.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's true, that's a rarer accent, but yeah, certainly in keeping with the time period we're working with.
I feel like I tend to see those mostly on the larger buildings, not as much on the smaller residential, but I like either the accent to like a real coin or a corbelled out. But I don't think it's necessarily right for this area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about it screams bank too.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay.
Anyone else? Kevin, have you been able to see what we're talking about?
Yeah, I'm on board with the, with the changing the cornice treatment a little bit to make it,
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I had a separate question, and it doesn't relate to the cornice or to the facade, but it has to do with the actual construction, with archaeology. If you're going to be monitoring that.
So we've actually had some test pits have been dug on the site, and it
Right.
seems that there had been some kind of a structure there that had been filled in with rubble.
Yeah.
And on the top layer, there's about 15 to 20 inches of the compacted gravel. And then below that, it's kind of like there's nothing really there. It's just like dirt.
Oil.
Yeah, I mean, I have the results from the test pits that were dug, that I can provide. And yeah, we'll obviously make sure.
I think what Kevin is speaking about is that the area itself has a high sensitivity for archaeological significance. So what has happened in the past, how deep are you going to be excavating actually for footings and for the lower basement area?
We're looking to get a full height basement in
Okay.
at least half of it, so it will be, 10
Okay,
feet.
so a significant excavation. I think, based on what reports, and we'll share the reports with you, there have been some other archaeological studies done that include this area. One was done for a Beale Street reconstruction, and they did identify some native, some very old, pieces were found in digs. And there's a site right next to this that has been identified on SHPO as having some very significant archaeological sensitivity. So that said, with the excavation, I believe we're gonna ask for an archaeologist to be there when the excavation is being undertaken,
Okay.
just to witness, what material is being pulled out, and to, if there is anything identified, to what's the word I'm looking for?
Take the proper course of
Yeah,
action
yeah.
to mitigate.
Preserve.
To preserve it, thank you.
Yeah, okay,
Okay,
sure.
and so we can work with you on a qualified archaeologist for that.
That'd be helpful.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we'll share those reports with Robin.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the clarification.
Right. So what we're approving today is the siting of the building and its general size, shape, and location. You're coming back to us with some final choices, I gather, on the exterior detail. And, all right. Is there anything open that we need to give a recommendation to
No, so I
planning board
think we
on?
just, if you want her to return with final elevation plans, then you need to be very clear in terms of what you're looking for. So you wouldn't do a certificate of appropriateness this evening, but what you would do is you would make your recommendation, and it would include cornice, detailing, to a greater dimensional, I guess. you're not looking for any changes to the windows? Am I correct?
Yeah, fenestration, you need that for the interior, and there's nothing here that seems objectionable.
No. Okay, so really what you're looking for is you wanted a second, the original course between the first and the second floor is okay, the way it was depicted on the drawing, correct?
Right,
That's
that,
not this one. You need to go to the-
that's the one, the first one. Am I
Right,
correct?
Top, yeah.
Yeah, go to the front elevation, yeah. Okay, so, and then Andrea had indicated that there should be another course right kind of above the third story windows to add a little bit of definition to that top area. And then you wanted to see the cornice above that depicted with a wider.
Wider and
And more
also
dimensional.
more dimensional so as to create a greater shadow line on top.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just now realizing, does anyone have a strong feeling 6/6, side by side, 2/2? Okay. And do we want to say anything about the canopy over the front? I think, I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other, both can work.
I think we're leaning more towards this one as opposed to the kind of the flat one with the suspension. That seems like it would be a little bit more on the Beale Street side. Seems a little bit more businessy, and this kind of little shed roof seems a little more neighborhoody to me. That's my
Yeah.
feeling. I'm personally leaning towards this one.
I can, it makes sense to me, and it's relatively inobtrusive. Any feeling over lintels versus sills, or I can't give a heck of a lot of guidance there.
No, I think either a cast one or the brick is fine, for either for header or for sills is appropriate. So as depicted is good for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else we would want to recommend?
So do we know what the window and door materials are?
Window and door materials. Have we gotten that far down the road yet?
Oh, okay.
I don't think we have gotten that far down the road yet.
Okay.
Okay, so what, Robin, what the commission usually gets is the specification for the windows, that are gonna be, I'm assuming they're gonna be wood windows. Vinyl wouldn't be acceptable in the historic district, so they'd be looking for wood. And I don't know if the owners have settled on any color schemes for the brick. The commission will probably be interested in, final color choices.
Okay. Sounds good.
I don't believe there's any requirement for them to have to do, wood. They could do clad, no? It's aluminum clad.
They can be metal.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Do you have any questions for the commission?
I'm grateful for your input.
all right, so we'll write up the recommendations. Do we need to vote on them here? I should summarize them, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So, I would move that we give some recommendations to the architects here, specifically additional cornice detailing to add a greater dimension and create more of a shadow, an additional layer of dimension line above the third floor windows, and we look forward to the rest of your choices.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much.
I'm going to need to ask for a second on that.
Second.
Thank you, Robert. And any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Robert? I also vote yes. And I look forward to, it looks like a good project for the area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your help. Appreciate it.
All right, 127 Fair Street. All right.
So,
Hi.
you know,
You wanna, I can talk or?
Yes, if you would give, introduce yourself, give us a quick overview of the plan, and then we will pepper you with pointed questions.
Sure. So my name is Alex Alamo. I work for Catherine Whitman Architecture. I'm an architect and been working for Batanari, the owners here. We also have Marco, the contractor. And yeah, we're in the Fair Street Historic District at 127 Fair Street. Currently on the property, there's the main house and there's this carriage house. And the idea is to make this carriage house an accessory dwelling unit. So, we'll start out with the first slide here. We looked up with Ethan's help, the 1870s Beers map. You can kind of see the structure where we think it is over there. It's also on the Sanborn map there. We go to the next page, you can see the existing structure. It's kind of like a modest Greek revival. There's a nice cornice dentil on the pediment there. And you can see the historic photos below. So I believe this carriage house goes back to like 1850 or 1870. It's kind of in a different state now, like the garage door must have been added somewhere along the line. If we go to the next slide, we did take a walk down Fair Street, look at other similar structures in kind of rear yards, either as carriage houses or garages. They kind of wide range of styles and everything. Sometimes they complement the main style of the house. Sometimes they're kind of different. So this was just a quick little survey, just walking down the street. Predominantly you do see carriage doors facing the driveway or some kind of door. Go to the next slide. So we're just looking at the existing structure here and, we did evaluate that. Can we easily convert that into an accessory dwelling unit that would meet code? Kind of the major problems is it has this kind of wood floor and kind of a dirt area. So we suspect that whatever they did to add that garage door, there is a steel beam in there, which probably wouldn't have been original to 1870 there. Steel was just coming out at that time. So at some point this was modified. And in looking at it a little further, it would have been really tough to basically get the footings we would need. We'd have to, be pretty expensive and difficult to keep the structure, pour, jack everything up, pour a new slab in there that you would need for a finished floor. So after reviewing, we did several options trying to get an ADU with everything to fit in this existing carriage house. But kind of decided to, okay, can we demolish it and kind of rebuild something in its place? So that's kind of the direction we took at this point. Other issues with the existing structure, did the kind of the second level loft kind of wouldn't have enough headroom unless you put like a major kind of dormer up there and restructured it. So that's kind of where we stand there. We would, there's a very nice door on the unit there. You can see that on the slide there. Wood siding, we probably wouldn't salvage much of it, but we can get something very similar to that. Let's move on to the site plan. The existing carriage house is kind of really nudged against that little L shape in the corner there. It's like right on the property line. So our new proposed structure would kind of respect the the setbacks, the current setbacks for accessory dwellings. You know, showing you the whole site plan now. The current driveway would be cut back a little bit, and we'd have some landscaping. You can see with these steps from the driveway. And we'd also kind of pare back the existing fence that's up around there, and you'll see on the rendering, we're proposing a black aluminum fence. And there's also a garbage enclosure with a EV charging station that we're showing on this. We haven't designed that yet, but that's something we want on the site plan. And you can go, these are the plans, kind of sticking to something similar to the original footprint, which was like kind of an L shape. So it would be kind of a lofted ADU unit, respecting the restrictions in the building code for Kingston. I think it's 1,000 square feet. You know, that's the plan right now, and actually the homeowners are planning to move in that while they renovate their home and then maybe rent it later. Is that fair? Go to the elevations. So we're kind of resembling the original structure. It is a little different. It had kind of the jerkin head hip kind of design on the end gables there. So that's something that we're using here. And we'd have wood siding. On the facing Fair Street, we designed something, obviously it's not going to be a garage anymore, but we were thinking we could have these sliding barn doors that can be operable, that could shut or open up, and behind it wouldn't be a garage bay, but kind of a door to the unit. On the side elevation that you wouldn't see from the street, we propose a 3-panel sliding glass door. And, you know, we have windows, lighting fixtures. Go to the next one is a kind of a 3D image. Pretty simple. We didn't decide to imitate the dental or anything from the main house too much, but we'd have kind of traditional clapboard siding with trim. And we have a little rendering at the end here. So we did add some landscaping in. It's winter, so it's a little shrubby, but that's kind of the idea. We have the fence, the ADU in the back there. Again, we'd be removing the existing fence that's up there. And yeah, and then we have just material, some stuff on the last slide. So fence, you know, this is pretty preliminary. We threw these together, but you know, black kind of picket fence would be aluminum. We have Essex green as the paint color, which is a historical collection. The roof, we're looking at a dark gray asphalt shingle. Windows, we know pretty much need to be wood windows. The doors, we know we can get them, and you know, typically they come kind of clad, would be the easiest to get, but they also do make wood, so you know, we want to hear your opinion on that.
And when you're mentioning doors, are you talking about the sliding glass door, or are you talking about the front?
Both of them, yeah. So you could get them in wood, but it might be, you know, might last longer with kind of a clad system. So we kind of wanted your take on that. And we have a lighting fixture picked out for the above the door there. That's pretty much it.
And where were you thinking of reusing that one door?
Yeah, that's not, let me see the plan.
Inside.
Yeah.
Either inside, I think there is an exterior, will be great. Let's see, not, and there's a little mechanical room in the back, but maybe that could be the front door. It doesn't have to be glass. You know, if we have lights there, you know, we're looking at maybe it could be a double door in the front, but that wouldn't be able to use that nice door.
All right. Do folks have any questions for our applicants?
One question, have you considered, repurposing some of the siding rather than just tossing it?
Yes, we consider, well, my name is Marco Ochoa, I'm the contractor, and we consider that, but because we have kids in the house, most of it is, we know in the area, we got lead paint. That's one of those things that we consider that probably will be the best thing to use a new siding, preventing from the lead paint to be in where the kids are around. So most likely, we're gonna use a new siding for that
So
reason.
you think that there's lead paint on the siding now?
Yes, yeah,
Has
for the
it
way it
tested?
looks. I haven't tested, but the way it looks, and you
Okay.
know, any paint that got used before, you know, years ago,
Uh-huh.
any house in Kingston has it.
Okay,
So that's one of the concerns we have, and I think the best thing to do is eliminate it and get something really similar or closer that will look the same, but we won't have that problem, at least we won't be thinking about with the
Okay.
kids are gonna be in the house, that's the one of the things.
so disposal will need
Yes,
to be.
probably. We know how to do
Take
it.
those precautions
Mhm.
when removing, obviously, I mean, the building department will.
Yeah, we got let things certify and all that,
Okay. Okay,
okay?
so with the new wood siding, would you try and like match the same dimension? I
Mhm.
noticed that you did have a tape measure tape there,
Yep.
a similar, dimension, although it also had a little, the existing siding had a little kind of a lip on it. If that was going to be trying to replicate it, or are you using hardy board, what do you think?
No, we would propose wood siding.
Wood,
We can
okay.
get that profile,
Yes.
you know,
Okay.
I think it's called a Dutch
Okay,
Cove or something. Has a little bevel to it.
Question on the fence. I'm not real clear where the fence is running, just
This-
across the,
Sorry again. I know, I was the same thing. We got it. Well, the main thing we're gonna look for the main, can you hold on one there? Sorry, can I come?
sure.
yeah,
The fence is gonna be pretty much in this area, so nothing's gonna be in the front. If it goes, it's gonna be across, if we have to. Just prevent pretty much for the kids to come out.
Well, the fact, if you go to the site plan,
You will see it.
well, this is what we were, yeah, so right now, there's an existing
Fence.
opaque wood fence that runs here and back here along the property line. So what we discussed in the design would be remove this fence, you know, that would make this much more visible from the street. And then there is a stone wall here. And so we would fence in with a black kind of picket fence, this corner to the stone wall, and then another run of fence up from that stone wall back to the structure. Right, is that?
Yes, for a fenced in backyard, because currently, we have a dog, and so we have the backyard fenced in for that purpose, and for kids too.
It will be visible, but not as much as the one we have right now.
And the design, I'm trying to think if we have anything similar in or around Fair Street.
I think it's a pretty, I mean, it's a typical,
Yeah, pretty.
You have
It will
the
resemble-
slide with the other little. Right, there was some larger ones, like, you know, call them a garage. I don't know what the carriage house is technically before cars.
Yes. Trying to keep horses happy.
Right, so there's some of them. There was a couple larger one, you know, there's a lot of, it's about 15 of them, I have pictures of.
Right, I recognize my office parking lot.
There you go.
There's a new structure, that's, completing construction, on the block.
Yep.
That's
We are familiar.
sizable.
All right, and the sliding doors,
At the front. If you go back, yeah. Down
we're just on the front.
there. Yes.
And I'm trying to figure out if you're inside, how you, I guess you're going through the side.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to work out the detail and the hardware, but from the inside, if that door swings in, you'd have it open and then, you can start to push the doors apart as long as they're not locked.
Another idea we had was this barn doors that don't move. They're just,
Right, they could just be
they're
panels.
just, instead.
Do people have a strong feeling one way or the other now? I kind of like the idea of being able to click on the glass door.
Yeah.
All right, so any further questions for our applicants? All right. Seeker. All right, I'll entertain a motion that we declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
So moved.
Thank you, Nettie. Do I hear a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
I also vote yes. And moving to the matter at hand, I move that the commission find as fact that the proposed demolition of an existing garage, former carriage house, and construction of a new ADU on the same site at 127 Fair Street in the Fair Street Local Landmark District have done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-26L of the City of Kingston's form-based code, is compatible with the historic character of the district for the following reasons and conditions. The proposed work is to take place at the site, which contains a detached carriage house or garage structure and a 2.5-story Greek Revival dwelling located on the west side of Fair Street, midway between Franklin and St. James Streets, that the 1870 combined map of Rhondda, Kingston, and Wilbur by Sanford and Beers indicates may have been owned by a Mrs. E.S. Baldwin. The owners proposed to demolish the existing carriage house and garage built circa 1858 and 1870 and has received alterations over the last century. The project architect has provided sufficient information to the HLPC that the existing accessory structure cannot be adaptively reused as an ADU, and that demolition will not adversely impact the primary structure's integrity. The architect approved plans, elevation drawings, and renderings of a new 1,000 square foot ADU on the same site with design features drawn from the existing accessory structure, and that the commission determines is appropriate for replacement construction within the Fair Street Historic District. The new ADU shall be clad in wood cove Dutch lap with a 7-inch reveal that matches the dimensions of the existing structure's facade. The structure and its trim will be painted Benjamin Moore Essex Green HC 188. The new structure's windows shall be 2/2 wood frame windows, such as Marvin Ultimate double hung wood windows. The proposed exterior mounted wood carriage house doors shall be a design feature with the ability to close fully. The doors and lights behind the carriage doors shall be, you need to fill in the make and model for the lights.
So those are yet to be determined, correct?
Yeah,
Should
we
we have the
have,
model?
yeah, if we're going, well, they have to be wood, is that generally?
Well, no,
Yeah.
you don't have to, they can be a metal. If
Okay.
they're the door, frames that can be metal,
Mhm.
if that's what you're preferring.
Yeah, we kind of, the idea was, all right, if we're concealing it with the barn door,
Right.
you know, is that kind of an effect we can kind of go for if we wanted to do metal, which would kind of last longer?
Okay.
But I know we want to, we're going for the certificate tonight. Is that
Yes,
possible?
that's,
So you need to know tonight?
do we? I
Or we
think,
could say one thing, if we do want to change it, we'd have to come back for.
Well, no, I think if it's allowed under the code, as long as it's code compliant, you can make your final decision. And I'm comfortable with allowing them to submit, the design is there, so if they submit the actuals back to staff, we'll make sure that it conforms to what the design shows.
all right, so I'm going to write that the doors and lights behind the carriage doors shall be made of a conforming material, wood or metal.
Yeah, and final specs submitted to staff.
Right.
Conforming
Probably wind up
material,
for stretch code reasons. It'll probably wind up having to be metal with a insulated core for stretch code reasons. Wood, in all of my
Yeah,
experience with it, at this point, it doesn't meet the stretch code for City of Kingston.
okay,
I don't know that this would, even though it's in a historic district, it's not a historic structure.
no, it's.
So it's new
yeah.
construction, so it has to meet stretch code. If it was the original structure, then it wouldn't have to meet.
The stretch code. Interesting.
Yeah, so make sure you pay attention to stretch code.
And is that,
What is
here's the stretch code,
It's it's New York State Energy Code, but with additional
With the-
modifications.
right?
Yeah, the City of
Right,
Kingston
and the
is
city
the stretch code.
adopted that,
Okay.
so it's.
so I'm going to call it a conforming material, wood or metal, specs to be submitted to staff for final approval.
And the lights will be the same thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The new roof shall feature a jerkin head design and shall be roofed in certainty pewter wood, dark gray architectural roofing shingles with a black painted roof line. I think that's a spelling error.
I believe it's supposed to be trim.
Thank you. The new structure shall have a union gooseneck exterior wall-mounted light fixture. Again, I think I'm going to say with specs to be submitted to staff for final approval. The owners may replace the existing fence and gate with proposed. You had wrought iron, I'm presuming that needs to be aluminum.
Yeah, the plans stated wrought iron.
But that's the design intent, obviously, it's a little expensive, so we go with some aluminum.
All right, so black aluminum?
Yeah.
With black aluminum fencing and gate system detailed as submitted. The owners may install the proposed section 405.14.I.5 conforming garbage, bike rack, and EV charging station enclosure on the south side of the driveway as rendered. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to additional work being carried out. The commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this 9th day of January 2025, we did not make it till midnight. The commission grant a certificate of appropriateness to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion.
One
Yes.
question before you make that motion final. HVAC,
Mhm.
are you gonna have exterior condenser? What are you
Likely,
thinking?
yeah, so,
Okay, so that has to be, it can't be obviously on the front, visible to the public.
mhm.
So it would have to be on the side or the rear, and it would have to be screened if it's on the side.
Most likely it's gonna be in the rear side.
On the rear side?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what we plan to
Okay.
do, because the mechanical room is all the way
Okay,
So it should be closer to that. So it's
Okay.
definitely gonna be in the back.
just wanted to
Yeah, no, sir.
ask that question.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
One last question, has to do with, you have a concrete slab, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure we don't have the RKO issue to deal with then. Okay.
Yeah, we get the full footing, I believe,
Yeah.
because if it was just a garage.
Right, yeah, yeah, habitable space, the 100%.
Okay.
All right. Do I need to amend anything regarding HVAC? I don't think so. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this 9th day of January 2025, our commission grant a certificate of appropriateness to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in their application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Eric. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Nettie,
Aye.
Andrea,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Robert.
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Congratulations. Enjoy the new tiny house. For kids. They should, and the dog.
That was good.
All right. That's it for now. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. It's nice to see familiar faces in the crowd.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You had the new additional signs you wanted us to add to the,
He's gonna pull that up.
yeah.
Put you in here. Yep.
Thank you.
Well, Ethan is miscellaneous this up. I just wanted to remind the commission members now that the new code, administrative code for HLPC has been adopted and it's in effect. And that actually codifies that all commissioners on this commission get 4 hours of training annually that we will need to have reported. So if, during the course of the year, we'll send you out if something comes across our desk from Department of State or Park Service or whomever, and we feel it's appropriate, we'll send it out to you. But there are a lot of on-demand webinars that might be good for some of you. So there's like some Seeker 101. So if you're not comfortable with Seeker or understanding it, I know Andrea, you are very in-depth. Well, you're probably good. I think Robert, but maybe Eric and Nettie, if you want to take a look at that one. They're on demand, so you can do them. They give you a certificate at the end. You just, if you're questioning whether or not it has to be obviously applicable to the business that's conducted by the HLPC. So that certainly would be, but if there's one that's out there and you think, I don't know that this was really going to be applicable, ask us before you take the time to do it. And then just send them to us. And we have a spreadsheet set up already. So we'll just put it in there and we want to. So by the end of the year, I'll be going through and I'll be looking and I'll be saying, hey, here's the spreadsheet here, Andrew, you've got your 4 hours. Robert, you need 4 hours and like new suggestions.
Yes, it is. Which actually, are any of these also eligible for COE credits?
Yeah. Like Robert Jacobson is on our planning board, so a lot of what he does for his professional training, he submits, and I can always find that there's definitely 4 hours. He does much more than 4 hours.
We're required to do
Yeah.
24.
Yeah.
So,
So,
okay.
Do 36 every 3 for architecture, but that's specific for architecture. So-
Yeah.
And a lot of them unfortunately do apply here in this case.
Yeah.
And vice versa, they offer the CE credit too.
right.
Where's the one for seeker? That's on their site?
Department of State.
Okay. There's probably nuances that are not.
There are a lot on the Department of State. I had a couple planning board members, in December do a couple that were, historic.
Yeah, those would be great.
Preservation related, but they also are looking at different projects all over the city, so I thought that was good for them to have that background. So,
100%.
yeah, there's several topics you can pick and choose from.
I only need 4 hours, yeah.
You only need 4 hours.
But you could do.
You can definitely, I have people that do a lot more than that, just because they find something interesting. And like I said, throughout the year, what we'll do is just send you out and say, hey, here's an opportunity for training. It might be a lot, there's a lot of these learn at lunch webinars now that are going on. Or it might be an evening, course. There's multiple topics. And so we'll send them out if we feel that they're relevant, say, here's an opportunity for you. If you choose to do it, then that's great. But it shouldn't be difficult to get.
Well, we have no excuse then if you're sending the email.
Yeah.
I said we have no excuse certainly if you're sending the email. We can't get 4 hours.
So sorry.
So, this is an add-on for tonight. I appreciate you taking the extra time. It came in today. This is the LGBTQ Center at 300 Wall Street. And they are proposing, as you probably are aware from the papers, their section of the pipe canopy has been removed. And so they are proposing signage on both the Wall Street and the John Street sides. 3 canopies are being requested, 3 awnings, I should say, in this particular instance. And the code allows for one awning per shop front and 1 sign per awning. So they're looking to put 3 of the small LGBTQ logos on all 3 sides of their awning, so that as you're walking down the street or up the street, whatever you want, or across the street, you'll see the little LGBTQ. And it's 12.5 inches by 5 inches high. It's really a logo. It's very, in my opinion, benign. And so one of the minor waivers is for the front Wall Street canopy to have 3 of those logos versus 1. And that is considered a minor waiver. It's in front of our office administratively to be reviewed, but because it's in a historic district, we are required to refer it to you for your recommendation on approval or disapproval. So this is the first one. The second one is on the John Street side. Can you go to the next slide? So on the John Street side, what they're doing is proposing 2 canopies, 2 awnings, because they have 2 side entrance doorways there. And rather than doing 3 signs, what they're doing is 1 on either end of the 2. So you'll see an end sign on the one as you walk down John Street towards Fair. And if you're walking down John Street from Fair towards Wall, you'll see 1 on the end there. So they meet the one awning rule, or 1 sign per awning rule there, but they have multiple awnings. So that's the minor waiver that they are requesting, to have awnings over both of those entryways. So those are the 2 minor waivers, and I just need recommendations back to us at staff level on your thoughts on that.
Are they retractable or are they fixed?
They're fixed.
Fabric? Are they fabric? Are they fabric or?
Yes, fabric. They're vinyl, black vinyl.
I think it's a clean line, not obtrusive or hiding any important architectural details. I'm not real clear on how, okay, it's inset there. Now I see how it fits, yeah.
I'm not crazy about the black.
Well, I think, obviously with the canopy removed, you see obviously the old, the building above
Yes.
was repainted and the bottom portion, which was at street level, was not. So that's one distinction there. They're just, at this point, just trying to get some signage back and provide a little bit of shade covering at the entryway.
To be fair, it makes the colors on the signage pop. It's a good background for it.
Okay.
I have a question on the color of the
So strongly
awnings.
convinced.
I've had experience with dark awnings like this. Pigeons coming and making a mess,
Oh,
which is difficult to clean. You got to get up on a ladder and yikes.
Just seems gloomy to me.
I don't know if that's an issue for us or not. I'm just throwing it out because I've had the experience.
Ooh.
I don't know that it's an issue for us, but certainly I will relay that.
Was
to
that
them.
fabric or vinyl? Vinyl might be a
It's
little
vinyl.
easier to spray off.
True, it's a vinyl.
I think what's a little deceiving to me is that the awning itself
Uh-oh.
has a cant. If you're looking at it straight on, and it's kind of tripping me out when I look at the image itself and the rendering.
Right.
It makes it seem like it's perspective, but it's actually, based on
Right.
the sample here that we're seeing, it's actually pitched in on the sides too. So my brain isn't
Yeah.
processing it.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with the three awnings. I mean, to
No,
have
yeah,
three awnings, I
yeah.
think that's a waiver that should be pretty easy to.
Yeah. And the other thing we're waiving is 3 signs on the front is this.
Yeah, three of the logos on the one awning versus one that they would only be typically allowed one per awning.
And then there's the one other sign above the awning.
Right,
With the
which
white background.
is an allowed sign.
Right.
That it is conforming.
I don't see anything objectionable on that level.
Maybe the first of many awnings were approved.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need motions, there's the 2 waivers, do you want to do them separately? You can do them together or separately.
I would,
Be fine.
all right, I move that we recommend that our staff approve the minor waivers as
No,
presented.
it's not your staff, it's planning. It's not landmark staff.
Mostly the same people, but yes.
But I
Understood. Okay, planning board staff. All right, I stand corrected.
We have a staff, that's so cool.
Yeah, I spent decades without it.
We have the best staff.
All right,
Only the best.
do I hear a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Nettie,
Hi.
and Andrea,
Hi.
Kevin,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
also vote yes.
I didn't want to say aye if you were gonna call me Andrea.
Slip
Sorry,
it again.
sorry, that's terrible. of
Every
me.
now and then.
Terrible of me. All right, does anyone else have any other business to bring before the commission?
Oh, are they gonna paint that building? Or are they gonna just take the paint off doing that?
don't know.
Yeah. Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
One thing I just was going to mention, I had this discussion with Ethan this afternoon. I was invited to submit an application for the Community Preservation Fund Advisory Board. And HLPC is a favored entity for that. If you go back and read the code, you'll see there's 3 boards that they encourage people to, submit applications, and HLPC is one of them. The Conservation Council is another one, and the Climate Commission's a third one. I'm on all 3 of those, so I was invited. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think that board is going to meet all that often, but the application process, I believe, is open until the 23rd, if anybody's interested.
All right, thank you kindly. And their function in city government is, can you describe it briefly?
Yeah, well, yeah, it would oversee, act as an advisory board for the fund, make recommendations to the city as to what to do with the fund, assuming, funds actually come in and,
So
yeah,
you,
we have a fund.
This is the money on real property transfers, the additional
correct.
tax.
Right,
Above
right.
a certain value, above the certain price goes into this fund, and there's different categories on how those monies can be expended, and one of them is for historic preservation. So I really think it would be great to have one or two members of HLPC. I don't know, how many members is this?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
find out on the 23rd as to how many people the mayor appoints, I suppose. I'd have to go back and read the enabling legislation.
Yeah.
Just,
They usually do minimums and maximums for a
yeah,
lot.
usually it does. I forget which local law. It was 8, 9, or 10. I don't remember which one.
All right. If anyone is interested, please, it sounds like a great thing for us. I will not be doing it, as my term as president of the Jewish Federation is eating up way more time than I expected. So I don't feel like I should be stepping into an additional commission, just so folks know. So anyone here it would be lovely.
Well,
Oh,
think about it.
bring the baby. Well, that is the word you're hearing the most at the moment, I think.
Yes.
Sounds right.
Awfully unstable.
So thank you, Kevin, for stepping up on behalf of not only us, but oh my gosh, these other two commissions. We of course want you to really push historic preservation. But yeah, if anyone else is interested, I think I will be sitting this round out.
Right.
Round out.
Thank you. It's good. It's good. I really think we need to entertain a motion to adjourn. Anyone want to make such a motion? I'll give that one to Robert. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I think I'll give that to Andrew.
She's not.
Fine, it's totally.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. By acclamation, we stand adjourned.
Thanks, Chairman. Good night.
Thank you for zooming in.
That's all that matters.
Feel better soon. Do we need
Yeah,
to
hope
send chicken soup anywhere?